All right, let's talk about AI. But we're not going to talk about the newest, shiniest tool or the latest model. Instead, we're going to completely rethink how we bring AI into our companies. We're going to focus on getting the organization right before we even touch the technology. Let's dive in. You've probably seen this happen, right? A company gets super excited, invests a ton of money into a new AI project. There's all this buzz, and then a few months later, it's just a total mess. So why? What is going on? Why do so many of these promising projects just fizzle out into chaos? And this is the big reveal, the core idea for today. The problem isn't the AI. It's not a software bug. It's not a bad algorithm. The real issue, the thing that really decides if you succeed or fail, is buried deep inside the structure of the organization itself. And once you see it that way, well, it changes everything. So, before we jump to the cure, let's spend a minute diagnosing the disease. We're calling this the AI chaos problem, and believe me, it's something that managers and team leads everywhere are feeling right now. Do any of these hit a little too close to home? You launch an AI initiative, and suddenly you're drowning in a dozen different tools and endless pilot projects that never actually go anywhere. It's a classic case of what you could call pilot-itis. Or maybe your department suddenly owns an AI system with all of the risk, but you have no official authority, no formal mandate. And meanwhile, the CFO is asking for results, for real impact. But all your team has are vague stories. Look, these aren't just random problems. They're symptoms of a much deeper structural issue. So what's the broken thinking that gets us into this mess in the first place? It's this mindset. Really, it's a myth. Let's call it technology AI. Let's break down what that actually means. This right here is the heart of technology AI. It's this really tempting idea that you can just go out, buy some smart software, plug it in, and hope for the best. It's a technology-first approach that basically treats AI like it's some kind of magic wand you can just wave at all your problems. But here's the kicker. AI is not a magic wand. It's an amplifier, and that's the most important thing to remember. If your organization is already running smoothly, with clear processes and a solid structure, yeah, AI can amplify that and make things even better. But if your organization is already chaotic, if roles are unclear and workflows are broken, well, AI is just going to amplify that chaos, making everything 10 times more complicated and a whole lot riskier. So if technology AI is the problem, what's the answer? Well, that brings us to a much smarter, much more effective approach we can call organizational AI. And the difference here is night and day. Look at this. Technology AI is all about buying tools and hoping. Organizational AI, on the other hand, is about getting your house in order first. It's about bringing clarity to how people actually work together. It shifts you from being technology first to being structure first. And the result? Instead of making your chaos bigger, you start amplifying work that's already well-defined and ready for that boost. If you remember one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. This is the mantra. Before you even think about vendors, before you look at a single piece of software, you have to think about your organization's design, your roles, your responsibilities, how work gets handed off. Structure first, always. Okay, so we know what we need to do, but how do we actually build this structure? What are the practical steps? Let's get into the method. The first big idea is something called evergreen service logic. This just means you design the basic rules for how work gets done in a way that's totally future-proof. The logic needs to be so solid that it works today with your current team, and it'll still work tomorrow when you plug in some new AI, or really any new technology. You're building an operational blueprint that lasts. And the second method is called forensic sparring. I love this one. You basically become a detective. You're not just taking things at face value, you're digging deep to find out where the process is really broken. Where's that hidden chaos that everyone kind of knows is there, but nobody talks about? It takes some real honesty to face those uncomfortable truths about how things actually get done. And all of this is built on a very clear, step-by-step logic. You can't just jump to the end. It all has to start with trust. Because only when there's trust can you get real participation from your team. And that collective participation is what allows you to build a solid, accepted structure. And only then, once that structure's in place, can you get to real, measurable impact. See? It's a formula, not just a bunch of nice ideas. This really puts a fine point on everything. Trying to implement AI without a clear service architecture, without defining who does what, is like trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. It's not just a bad idea, it's a complete recipe for disaster. This is an absolute non-negotiable. So, let's talk about the real world. Why does this structure-first approach matter so much? Because for a lot of organizations, getting this right isn't just about profits or efficiency. It's about a fundamental duty to the people they serve. I mean, just think about these sectors for a second. Public services, healthcare, energy, insurance. These are all areas where failure is simply not an option. Real people are depending on these services to work flawlessly every single day. And that right there is the bottom line. For these kinds of organizations, AI can't be some risky experiment. It absolutely must be a tool that makes their services more reliable, more effective. The stakes are just way too high for that buy it and hope for the best strategy we talked about. So we'll end on this final thought. Bring your AI home. This isn't about just grabbing some off-the-shelf solution from a big tech company. It's about building this intelligence right into the fabric of your own organization, in a way that you control. It's about owning your structure, owning your processes, and making AI a natural, auditable part of how you deliver on your promises. So maybe the real question isn't what AI can do for you, but is your organization truly ready for what AI will do to you?